Hello there, Vanessa Lanham-Day here. Well, today I want to tell you a story about a big birthday party we're planning for later this year. And you may think that sounds a bit odd. So more importantly, it's a story about creating great direct mail that gets you the outcome that you want. Now, I hadn't really thought about this before I started putting this party invite together. It's only when I got all the bits together I realised what I'd done. So let's just set the scene a bit. Steve and I, we've been together many years. Families have all grown older. Parents, aunts and uncles are all now have moved on to a better place. Meaning, for Steve, who had quite a big family, his mum had 4 other brothers and sisters, and the only time he ever met all the cousins was at funerals more recently. Well, now the aunts and uncles have died, there are no more funerals, so in the last couple of years we simply haven't seen any of them, and it's that old, we really must get to see them again. So over Christmas I decided to take on the mission of getting all our data together. So I've got a directory with all our phone numbers and addresses and so forth, but I had an ulterior motive, because I wanted to use our big birthday year as a reason to get everyone together. Now, my point about direct mail is that most business owners, when they tackle direct mail, have got all this stuff they want to share with the world. They want to get it out there because it's so good and they're so passionate about it. But what they do is they forget about the person who's receiving it, and in all truth, it doesn't really impact their lives that much. They're busy, they've got other things to do. And so it is with Steve's family, that, I'm sure they like us well enough, but, their lives have managed perfectly well without us. And, they've got other stuff. They've all got kids and grandchildren now. They've got other hobbies and commitments in their diaries, and finding time to come and see us potentially is quite low down on their priority list. Which is why I put together the pack that's going to make it so much harder for them to ignore our offer of coming here. We're great at running parties, but they don't know that. In all truth, they probably think it's going to be a bit of a dull affair, and they'll be looking at their watches and wondering how quickly they can go home. So I've got to change that perception. I've got to make them think, do you know what, I really need to be there. I've got to make the whole thing a lot harder for them to ignore. So let me just show you some of the things that I've put together. So for example, I put together a special invite. Now, I use Moonpig, the people where you can do photo uploads and what have you. I'm sure there's lots of them, but so I've created a proper card, and it's got a definition of the family name and all about the party and why they should be there. And of course, all of those will be handwritten and personalised, and a little note saying why we want them to be there. But not only that, I've shared my resource. They've all got a copy of the directory. Trying to think about the barriers. Why might they not come? Well, I've tackled that in a letter. I've sent them a really personal letter that shares a bit of our story over the last couple of years, why it's really important for us to get together. And, it's made it a bit emotional, to be honest, and I'm not trying that to be clever. I'm trying it because actually it's true. And my finishing line is, let's not wait till the next funeral before we all get together again. Because I don't know about you, but as you get a bit older, the whole family thing feels a bit more important. So I made it really clear why they might want to come, but I've included in it a list of hotels, because hey, that's a real barrier, finding somewhere to stay. A lot of them are coming for would be coming from abroad and are coming from other parts of England, so finding somewhere to stay is a bit of a pain, isn't it? So that's going to be a barrier. Well, I've taken that away so that they can easily find somewhere. And of course, what it also does is elevate the whole thing a bit. We have the invite, the letter, the hotels. I've included an RSVP, so we've got a call to action, and I'm even adding a stamped address envelope in that. That's going to make it much easier for them to reply, much more likely to get what I want. But think about that pack when it arrives, and I've added in, we've got a little bit of the old sparkly stuff here, so we've got the glitter and little motifs and what have you for parties, and I probably won't get a right pain in the neck of myself. It's going to spill out all over the floor when they open the letter, but all of it seeks to elevate the package, so it says I'm a party, you need to be there, it's a bit special, you mustn't miss out on this. And that's absolutely the outcome that I want, and it's the outcome you should want when you send a direct mail. You should think of all the reasons why it's going to be difficult for them to take up your offer, all the things that are getting in their way, all the reasons why they should want to talk to you. You should make it hard to ignore your version of the glitter. You've got to make it easy for them to take action, your version of the RSVP. I'm even sending it in a bright pink envelope, and it's all handwritten, so when it arrives it's just going to look a little bit more special than the ordinary run-of-the-mill mail that people get most days. So I don't know, these are being sent out today. For all I know, they'll all turn us down. I don't think they will, and probably we won't get them all here because that's just not practical, particularly if we've got some literally on the other side of the world. But you know, I know we have much better chance of getting the result that we want because we've done it properly. And I genuinely didn't think about it as a direct mail piece. It's only when I was literally putting them all together I thought, do you know what, you've done a classic. Tick all the boxes, make sure you're massively more likely to get the outcome that you want. And I hope there's a lesson for you in there. Don't just talk about you, think about the other person, make it easy for them to say yes. So there's going to be more stuff about our birthday year, I'm sure, and you may have picked up in the visual what big birthday it is, and there'll be a prize if you send me an email telling us. Who knows, there might be a cupcake in the post to you. So hope that's been helpful. See you in the next one. Bye bye.